Should you be using a property management company or not to manage your rentals as you go forward with your business, or even when you're starting your business? Now, I know a lot of you go from 2 to 3 to 5 to 10 to 15 rental properties, and then you adopt a property management company. Some of you actually create your own because you get good at what you're doing. But what about for those that have maybe 5 to 7, 10 rentals, or you don't have any, and you're thinking, is it worth the dollar out of pocket to give to a property management company? Will I get the return on that dollar spent? And I'm gonna give you my opinion on the board behind me. I'm gonna give you 7 reasons behind this. I do believe you should be using property management companies, especially if you don't know what you're doing, because there's a lot of things they can help you with. And sometimes it's not so much the dollar we spend out of pocket today, but the dollar we save tomorrow, and the dollar that we can compound tomorrow if we have the time to reinvest it and go find more deals. So let's look at this. I'll give you my opinion, 7 different reasons. And if you have a differing opinion, please put in the comment box below. I'd love to hear it. Now, number 1, for sure, is time management. Time is non-renewable, money is, relationships are. I guess sometimes some of y'all have not done a good job at that and you can't rebuild those. But think about how much time this saves you. We're gonna not spend too much on this, but all the calls from tenants, all the calls for repairs, all the calls from people trying to rent your property, that's a lot of time. Going out to open up the door and show the properties, because not everybody uses a lockbox, guys. You'd be surprised what people do. There's a lot of time spent filling a property, maintaining a property, and dealing with annoying tenants blowing your phone up all the time. Even if you have one rental property, if you have the wrong rental property and the wrong tenant, that's a lot of time out of your plate, and it's well worth the cost to pay a property management company to deal with this. So lots of time will be saved. It's probably one of the number 1 reasons people hire a property management company, which is why when they have 10, 15, 20, they use one. Well, but if you're using one when you have multiple rental properties down the road, why not use one today and use the same logic and reasoning when you get your first rental property? Number 2, fees. They're gonna collect on fees that you would not be. They're gonna probably have fees in other areas to bring in extra rental income that you probably would not have thought of when you're starting out in the business. And they're gonna have the heart to go out there, or I guess to say the lack of heart, so if you wanna look at it that way, to go collect on these fees. A lot of times, new landlords, I promise you guys, you go out there with good intent and you're good people, and when it comes time to collect on a fee, even though they owe you this fee, you may not want to ask for the fee and you may let that slip. If you start to add up rental properties, this adds up to a lot of money over time. A property management company is gonna collect on fees a lot easier than you are, and the tenants will pay them a lot easier than if they're working with you one-on-one, because they feel there's a third-party barrier in between them and you, and this is gonna be a lot easier to collect on these fees as well as get them to pay these fees, if that makes sense. Kind of goes hand in hand with the third one, having a tenant-landlord barrier. This is a problem, guys. You have to realize you're dealing with human beings, families, real people. There's a human element, a social dynamic, and I personally know myself that I'm a slouch when it comes to working with my tenants. I let them run over me a lot of times. So I like to pretend I'm this big bad, businessman out there. But when a tenant with 3 children comes to you and is like basically saying, "Oh, well, I'll pay you next month, I promise you," what are you going to do if you have a decent heart in you, right? You're gonna let them play on your heartstrings. And this happens all the time. This is a big one, especially when it comes to eviction time and any time it comes to a confrontation with a tenant. They owe you money for living in your property. And if you don't have someone that can handle this without emotion, you have the vulnerability to operate in a way that emotion affects the way you make your decisions, if that makes sense. So I promise you, unless you're cold and bitter to the soul and have no heart, you probably aren't gonna make a good landlord if you manage your own properties. This is one of the biggest reasons I think you guys should be having a third-party company do this. Plus, when you're working one-on-one with a tenant and they know you personally by name and they meet with you personally and they talk to you personally, they have the ability to build a personal relationship with you. And when you have a relationship with someone, they can twist on you a little bit more. They're not gonna play these games with the property management company like they are with you. You'll get your rent most likely more often. The fees we talked about. When it comes to the eviction process, we'll dig into. It's just so much easier to run your business, and this alone is worth the small price that you pay to hire a property management company. Now, number 4, contractors, right? The biggest headache I've had in the business since day one is not tenants, it's contractors. Them stealing from you, them not showing up on time. Let's say they don't come out there when you need them to get out there and your tenant keeps complaining. Once again, time management and a barrier. They're gonna complain to the property management company, not you. These property management companies have a book of business, long-term relationships with quality people in the business that they've been working with for years, a lot of them. And if they don't, I wouldn't be using that property management company, but they're gonna handle all the headaches and risk and all the frustrating parts of the business when it comes to dealing with contractors. That alone should be a good enough reason to hire a property management company so you never have to pick up the phone and deal with a contractor when it comes to manage your properties. Number 5, evictions. It's a nasty process, guys. Time-consuming process. I don't want to deal with it. I guarantee you don't want to deal with it. Nobody wants to deal with it. And all these kind of overlap: the emotional part of it, the time-consuming part of it, the stress involved with it. And it's just easier to hire a property management company that will handle all this up front, and that basically when they stop paying, and that they're going to work with them to try to get them to pay again, you don't have to deal with any of this. Hands off. All your time can be invested in going and finding new rental properties and finding better properties and expanding your portfolio, and instead of trying to maintain the current one that you have. And if that something for some reason happens that they do have to be evicted, they handle all this and you don't have to worry about any of it. It's a huge reason to be using a property management company. And so is this one right here, number 6, filling the property. Think about how much time it takes if you have a so-so property and you have looky-loos and time wasters coming in and out. No one's pulling the trigger. You're going out there back and forth because some of you don't trust people to be in the property with a lockbox. I get it. You're new in the business and you want to be there. What if they're going to go in there and do something? Who knows what they're going to do? Steal the dishwasher and steal the, range or something like that. But think about what this does for you. They're going to fill your properties. Now, a lot of times they can fill them way quicker, way faster, and for a higher rent amount than you can fill them for. So let's say you tried to rent it on your own and you were getting $1,100 a month, and they can get you $1,250 a month or $150 a month. Take that number by 12. That's probably pretty close to what you're paying them to manage your property for the year, depending on which type of property management company you use. They may be able to fill it faster, avoiding you carrying costs, and get you a higher rent, because once you buy that property, guys, costs start cranking up. It's not free to own a property. They can fill them quicker, fill them better, and fill them better with a better tenant. And a lot of times they have a tenant base already ready to go. Once you submit that property to them, they can get it filled right away. So this is good. And then collections, they're going to collect the rent. Those tenants are going to work with them more closely when they know that they're not working directly with you. They're going to track these guys. It's a lot easier when it comes to filling the property and collecting rent, and all you have to do is sit back and watch checks hit your account. The last one is records and taxes, right? This one alone is by far the reason you should do this, because they're going to create, if they're a quality company, and if they're not, you shouldn't be using them. They're going to have a whole breakdown of fees and expenses, repairs made, all the income coming in, and they're going to have it nicely broken down in printout that you can submit right to your CPA and right for your taxes. This is going to save you so much time and so much stress, and you're not going to get caught in the chaotic part of your year when you go back and try to look through your accounts and figure out which expenses went to which properties, and it's going to just be crazy. I promise you guys, the property management company is worth it to hire. Don't be thinking about the tiny little amount of money you're paying on the front end. Think about how much time it costs you to do all this, how much stress, how much you would pay to have all the stress go away, the efficiency of all the record keeping, being able to get better property, better tenant in the property faster. Guys, there's just so many reasons why I truly believe you should be using property management. Now, some of you may have a differing opinion. I'd love to hear it. But if you're not using a property management company right now, guys, at least go interview a couple, see what their costs are, see what it costs to put your portfolio in their hands, and do a math comparison. Look at things with math, data, business maturity, business intelligence, not feeling an emotion and just saying, I feel like I'm making more money because I'm saving more money up front, because I promise you're probably losing a lot more money and a lot more sleep. If you like the video, hit that yellow notification bell, guys. It lets you know when future videos come out immediately. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it, guys. It's gonna help this channel grow. Leave comments down below if I missed something or you wanna add something. I'd love to hear it. And I'll see you guys in a few days. Have a good day.